Boom. Let's see something. Let's talk about what's going on with pay-per-view, man. See, man, say something if you are out there. So I'm going live. I didn't schedule an actual time for this. I'm just going live to see who jumps on because when we talk about what's going on with pay-per-view, yeah, I see somebody just jumped in the chat. Say something if you're there. So let's talk about this pay-per-view stuff. Try to understand why a guy like Gervonta Davis and Deontay Wilder and other big names can't crack 100,000 pay-per-view. See, that's the thing when you go live and you have a small channel, you may have a good topic to discuss, but people will come on and then they'll jump off. But it's all good. But I'm just going to talk no matter what. So for me, just trying to understand what's going on when it comes to pay-per-view. You know, I'm not even sure if the numbers that get reported, I'm not even sure if they're accurate. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at, let's just look at Gervonta Davis, right? We'll talk about Deontay Wilder. But when you compare Gervonta Davis and Deontay Wilder, who do you think is the biggest name out of the two? Okay. Deontay Wilder, Gervonta Davis. Now, the thing is, for me, I tend to believe that maybe Gervonta Davis may be a bigger name than Deontay Wilder. And the only reason that I'll say that is because of the emphasis and effort that was put forth to try to grow Gervonta Davis into a pay-per-view star. This has been a goal of Mayweather Promotions, Al Heyman, PBC, and Showtime for several years now, is to push Gervonta Davis as the next big thing in boxing, the face of boxing. They've made sure to posture him and his fights in the right cities. And they made sure there would be a demand and support for him in those cities to where what you're seeing happening is he's continued to break, live gate records. So my thing is this, right? When you look at the numbers that were being reported about Gervonta Davis and how his pay-per-view sales have always been successful, sometimes you don't really get a number associated with the statement that Gervonta Davis being a very successful pay-per-view star. Now, he is successful as far as being an attraction because people come out to see him, and to get 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 people to come out to an arena to watch you fight, that's not easy to do. But at the end of the day, when we start talking about the pay-per-view numbers, what there's something missing there. Now, how do you create a demand for someone to want to spend their money and watch you fight? Now, we understand what Mayweather did, right? What Mayweather did was spectacular, but he made himself uncomfortable. See, a lot of these fighters, they don't want to do the things that Mayweather did. And sometimes you have to create a persona. You have to create a character. It's not easy to do that. That makes yourself vulnerable. People have to identify with you. Just being able to fight isn't enough for someone to want to spend their money to watch you fight. Now, when you talk about the things that people know about Gervonta Davis, okay, what do people really know about Gervonta Davis? And I'm not talking about the diehard boxing fans, because diehard boxing fans, we know he's a great fighter. But when you talk about crossover appeal and your name being in the headlines and people seeing your face on TV, right? With Mayweather, for the majority, right, of his career, when they saw his face on TV, the casuals, the non-boxing fans, what would people see Mayweather do? Talking a lot of trash, right? But he got in there with De La Hoya. De La Hoya was the face of boxing. Then from there, he used that as a launching pad. WWE, Dancing with the Stars. This man went all over the world traveling. Things he was doing, man, his due diligence to make sure he took his brand to another level. So by the time Mayweather did have little ups and downs with the law and the whole thing with the mother of his children, people had already known Mayweather for being an outstanding fighter, for being this guy who was on TV. They didn't learn of Mayweather for being a guy who was involved in these legal spats. So when you look at a guy like Gervonta Davis, for those casuals, what do they know him for? Right? Kind of getting in trouble and doing the wrong things. When you look at little clips from, and I don't mind talking about these channels, Fight Hub, was it Fight Hype? Not even Seconds Out. ES News. That fella's all over the damn place anyway. But nonetheless, you look at when you go back and look at a lot of the clips of Gervonta Davis and even Mayweather, Earl Spence. Sometimes you see them drunk. Sometimes you see them cussing, using inappropriate language, being foolish, right? Now, I'm not judging them. What I'm saying is, these are the things that you see. And then when your name ends up in a situation where something bad happens, or you're involved with the law, domestic or whatever it is, those casuals who maybe they didn't really know much about you, and they say, who's this boxer? Who's this guy that everyone's talking about? And they want to go to YouTube or Google your name. What comes up on you? Now, we talked about the language, right? We talked about the alcohol, talked about the legal issues, right? The main discernment between them and Mayweather, you never see Mayweather drunk. You don't see Mayweather in a bunch of interviews with these little content creators where he's being ignorant. Now, he's mouthy, he'll talk trash, but you don't see him being very ignorant. Mayweather was very aware of his brand and trying to grow and expand his brand. As a result, he was able to create a demand by the consumer who wanted to see him fight. Now, the thing is, when Mayweather got in the ring, let me tell you, man, I don't know why people hate on Mayweather. I just don't. It makes me wonder, what lens have people been watching boxing through when it comes to Floyd Mayweather? I mean, for next, okay. Hey, what's up, Bully Block? Rodney here too. Hey, what's up, Rodney? People just stealing them days. That's right. Fire Sticks Kill pay-per-view. That's right, man. So when you think about that, right? I don't understand why people say so many negative things about Mayweather. When Mayweather got into the ring and Mayweather fought, what impression did he leave on you when you watched him fight? Now, let's not just talk about the last 3 or 4 fights, which I still think were outstanding performances. I'm talking about when he was within that window, kind of like where Gervonta Davis is, Deontay Wilder, Earl Spence. Man, he left your mind blown of what he was able to do. But the thing is, he was able to couple his professional career, and he was able to take that with his personal life and being able to market himself the right way to where he was able to grow. And when he was able to grow, the demand for him grew. As a result, those fight purses grew. How many guys do you know, right? We're getting in the ring today. Like, how many guys right now? You know, Wilder is a huge name. Gervonta is a huge name. But for some reason, these guys can't crack 100,000 pay-per-view buys, right? That's the rumor, right? I don't know if that's true. Only the fly on the wall knows if it's true. But it makes you wonder. They should be able to do that. But how many boxers right now are able to do what Floyd was doing with this whole thing coming in the ring with a patch on their trunk or wearing a certain piece of jewelry and getting paid $500,000, $1 million to wear the jewelry, to wear the patch, to have their name on his shorts. Now, we've seen other guys come in, they may have, remember one time guys were putting that stuff on their back? It wasn't a tattoo. They would like write the name of a casino or the name of some brand or whatever. They put it on their back, so when they're fighting, you're seeing it on their back. Guys would get paid. They would get paid for that. But nobody's making the kind of money like what Mayweather's getting. Spray paint. Yeah, that's what it looked like. But what that tells you is Mayweather figured it out. So when have you seen, the only thing about Mayweather I'll say, and maybe that's like these young guys who are benefiting from those huge paydays he got, and these young guys who are not able to get paid big money. The one thing Mayweather didn't do, it could be something that's hurting these younger guys or this next generation, is he never took endorsement deals. Could you imagine if Floyd Mayweather was able to swallow his pride or whatever it is and decide to take an endorsement deal with Gatorade, to do a shoe deal, anything to continue expanding his brand? You know how much money this man, he made a lot of money, but could you imagine just how much more money he would have made? Because he's the best at his craft. You look at what's going on out there with Steph Curry. I think it's Under Armour, isn't it? And Steph Curry just signed some deal for like $1 billion. Something crazy. Now, there's a bunch of basketball players who are great, but Steph Curry signed this deal, something like $1 billion he's going to get. Imagine if Mayweather would have done that. Now, the reason I'm saying all that is Mayweather didn't get involved in that. And you're seeing these guys like the Spence, the Wilders, the Gervonta Davis, they haven't really gone that route. Maybe they think they don't need to do that. But what I'm saying is pay-per-view isn't going to get these guys to get to that Mayweather money. It's over. Now, for those of you who are just joining in, man, those who already subscribed to the channel, thanks. Those who are new, hey, man, thanks for jumping in to the chat. But when you look at pay-per-view, right, that's why I've said in some videos I did over the last couple of weeks, and it's funny that the stuff just kind of reared its head when it comes to Gervonta Davis and doing, was it less than like 70,000? These promoters, these networks, I think these fighters are starting to figure it out. They know they can't give them those kind of guarantees, what these fighters want. You just can't give someone a $10, $15 million guarantee. But what they can do is manipulate those numbers. Yeah, times have changed big time. You look at the fact, like, I didn't start paying attention to it till maybe like a year ago, 2 years ago or something, when I was looking at the guarantees that I was reading an article and I saw like, I think Wilder was like getting a guarantee of like, I don't know, 1 million, 1.5. Earl Spence was getting guarantees of like 1 million or 1.5. Somebody getting a guarantee of like 500,000. And that just jumped out to me. You guys ever been reading something and you may not retain all of what you read, but there's something that's going to jump out at you. And no matter what you do, you can't erase that from your mind. Like, it just sticks. And that's what stuck. And I was like, how the hell are they giving these guys $500,000 guarantees? Because I'm thinking guys are getting like $7 million. You look at Adrian Broner, he was talking about the kind of money he was making before. $1.5 million guarantee, $2-3 million guarantees. But then you look at now, Adrian Broner was getting that before. The money was there. You telling me Deontay Wilder, this man can't get that kind of money? So these promoters, and they said, you know what, we're going to be smart. We don't have the money to pay these guys because we know on pay-per-view, it's just not going to get to the 300,000-400,000 mark. You got to understand, imagine that you have a promotional outfit. And for the last 10 years, you were accustomed to, on the low end, hitting about 250,000 in pay-per-view sales at a $75 price point. I'll tell you, right? I'll tell you, Troy B. That's a lot of money. And then now you realize that you're not even cracking 100,000. That's less than half of what your low point was. But now you got to go in here and deal with a fighter and try to figure out a way to make him feel that you really have his best interest in mind, and he's going to be able to make good money. But as far as Eubanks Jr., I think, I have Eubanks Jr. winning. I think he wins. I think he wins pretty easily. He'll outbox him. I don't know if he'll stop him. He can, but I think Eubanks Jr. beats Smith pretty easy. So now they come and give him this $500,000 guarantee and say, look, I'll give you 50% of the pay-per-view on top of that. Listen, back in the day, everybody wasn't getting no damn 50% of pay-per-view, 60% of pay-per-view. You know why they weren't getting that money? Because pay-per-view sales were hitting those high numbers. They're not hitting those high numbers no more. You know what I'm saying? So they can't come now. Imagine if pay-per-view was still doing, I don't know, 350 to 500,000, right? There would be no 50% for anyone. There would probably be more of a flat rate, or probably more like 10%. They would adjust those numbers big time. But the networks have been taking huge losses. So as a result, they got to scale back somewhere else. And that's going to be in those fighters' purses. But they got to still make the fighter feel that they have the best interest in mind. So you get a guy who's getting a $1 million guarantee. He does less than 100,000 pay-per-views. They throw another, I don't know, million. Let's say he hits 200,000. No, another couple million on top of that with the live gate and everything else. This man's seeing that he's getting a 300, 400% increase in his fight purse. He thinks he's special. That's no real money. And what does it say? QT. People laughed at Top Rank when they did the pay-per-view on ESPN app. Now that app includes the Hulu and other platforms. Killed the game. Absolutely. But people don't want to spend their money. And if there's no market for it, it is what it is. We're just not going to get the fights. And that's why Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, man, we're just not going to get it. You look at what's going on. This is something else to really look at, right? You're telling me Errol Spence, these guys are surrounded by smart people. Also, these boxers have friends. HC breaks him down. That's right. These boxers, they're friends with other boxers. You don't think these guys don't have conversations? We know the times have changed, Chinchilla. I know what you're saying. But y'all don't think that these boxers don't talk to other boxers and give them the raw and uncut on the kind of money they made or they're making to let them know, hey, this is bullshit. Or if they're making real money, hey, this is kind of how it's working out for me, but this is the direction I had to go. These guys are getting frustrated. And what I anticipate happening here, and probably this year we're going to see, with boxers, they're not going for those low guarantees. Because if it's true that Gervonta Davis did what is it, 57,000, something crazy? Let's say that's true, right? He made the money from the live gate, which is, I don't know, like $5 million or something, right? And his purse guarantee was like, what is it, 1.5 million, 2 million? He gets some, I don't think he gets all that live gate, but let's say they throw another couple million on top of that. What's your thoughts on Plant versus Benavidez? I'll tell you in 1 second. The pay-per-view is just not, you can't just come and make 500,000 on pay-per-view, 1 million on pay-per-view. That's not going to make these guys happy. So I have a feeling you're going to get a pushback from these boxers. They're going to say, hold on a second. You're giving me this low guarantee. Because remember, these fighters, they want to fight for 10 million, 15 million. You can't keep telling them, well, look, we're going to give you a guarantee of 1 million and 80% of pay-per-view sales when the damn pay-per-view is not even hitting 2 million in sales. They're smart. They're going to say, nope, that's not working anymore. So now these promoters and these networks, they're going to have to figure it out. If not, fighters are going to do what you saw like Terrence Crawford did. He got away from Aaron. Aaron wasn't helping him at all. But Terrence Crawford, again, there has to be some kind of demand creation out there. You got to create a persona. People have to know you. People have to want to see you fight. And you got to do some things out the ring to make yourself more marketable. And Crawford didn't do that. But at the end of the day, he jumped ship. He hooked up with BLK Prime. Supposedly got a $10 million payday. Now, what I'm saying is if Adrian Broner, because out of everyone who talks in boxing, I believe Adrian Broner, right? I'm going to talk about AB. Let me just see what we had here. But I like, you like the way I break things down. What's my thoughts on Plant versus Benavidez? Okay. I'm going to get back to AB in 1 second. Plant versus Benavidez, man. I just think with Benavidez, man, and his work rate, it can be tough. But Plant is a master boxer, puncher. And if no one realizes this by now, look, man, Caleb Plant is left-handed. Nobody realized that? When you saw him knock out Darrell, I didn't know he was left-handed. But the way he knocked Darrell out, I was like, no way in the world he generates that kind of power from his weak hand. Now, I know we got boxers out there with heavy-ass hands, but I was like, hell no. And the way he got it off, hooked to the body and came right up top. A little delay, and boom, he turned it over, right? I was like, where did he get that power from? But then I was reading an article and listening to some interviews. That's where they disclosed Caleb Plant's left-handed. So he's been going through his whole career a damn left-hander converted orthodox. So what Caleb Plant is essentially is a goddamn De La Hoya. He's a damn Miguel Cotto out here, man. Out here damn near decapitating people. And nobody figured that out. So with David Benavidez, I think he's flat-footed. He likes to stand there and hold his ground, right? And get his shots off. And if you're standing in front of him, he'll get you out of there. But what we could see here, and you guys can tell me if you disagree, we just saw Joshua and Usyk and what happens to the guy who's kind of bigger, stronger, and not really floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. And what could happen when they get in there with the master boxer who has some strong enough hands to buzz him and hurt him. So I'm just saying, I think Plant has good conditioning. David Benavidez isn't the kind of guy to come and try to cut the ring off, and I just think he's going to struggle with Caleb Plant because styles make fights. But I can see where people think David Benavidez, what does Mike Tyson call him? El Monstro, the monster, the Mexican monster. I can see where people think that David Benavidez will come in there and knock Plant out. But Benavidez isn't Canelo. See, this is the problem. Caleb Plant learned from that crap that happened with him and Canelo. He's not, that whole Darrell thing, Darrell was roughing him up, trying to give him the business. Plant pushed through. But if Caleb Plant had not gone through what he went through with what's his name, Canelo, yeah, I think David Benavidez would get him because maybe Plant would say, you know what, I'll stand here and trade. I'll get on the ropes and languish on the ropes, and I'll try to counter because Caleb Plant's always trying to catch and shoot and counter, but he learned from that. So with him and Benavidez, I think he knows Benavidez may be a little bit stronger than Canelo. So I think it's a tough fight. But if he gets cute in there, yeah, I think Benavidez has no problem, hurting him with a shot. And if Benavidez hurts him, Benavidez is going to converge on him, and he's going to get him. He'll probably get him out of there. But I think if I had to bet, right, I'm fair, I'm neutral. But if you're asking me to pick, I think Caleb Plant shocks everybody and wins by unanimous decision. Now, when it comes to Ryan Garcia, I'm going to get to Adrian Broner. I didn't forget about him. When it comes to Ryan Garcia and Tank, look, let's be real. Ryan Garcia has power in that left hand. Ryan Garcia is super fast. Ryan Garcia is tall. Ryan Garcia has all the physical attributes, right, to get in there and beat Tank, and to beat Tank with no problem. But the problem is that Ryan Garcia is tall, and Ryan Garcia likes to depend on that left hook. And Ryan Garcia stands flat-footed. That's going to be his downfall, I think. Ryan Garcia isn't he's not a boxer puncher. He's a guy who can throw fast combinations, but he has to have his feet set. He can't do like Tank Davis and move around the ring and box and fire on the dime and then roll and get out of there and counter again and move. Like Tank Davis, if Tank Davis played basketball, he'd be breaking ankles all over the court. Miguel Cotto was another one. He stand and hold his ground and let his hands go, but then he start dancing around and boxing, getting on his toes, and it's scary. Amir Khan was another one, gets on his toes and gets scary. De La Hoya was another one. He gets up on his toes, especially De La Hoya. Moving around the ring and boxing, it gets scary. So I just don't think Ryan Garcia is going to be able to handle Tank when Tank starts moving around. Now, Look at what Tank did when he fought Rolly. People don't give Tank enough credit, man. Tank can box. And I'm not a Tank fan. I'm a boxing fan. Ryan Garcia can fight. He can hit. But Ryan Garcia can't box. And what I mean by that is he's not a guy in there, ring generalship, moving around, lateral movement. No, man, that's not Ryan Garcia. That's not. When have you seen Ryan Garcia on his toes bouncing around the ring? That's not what he does. The worst thing happened to Ryan Garcia is him going over there in Canelo's camp. Because all of a sudden, he wants to have the high guard and walk people down and bang them out of there like Canelo. Okay? So now he left from over there. He's over there with Joe Goossen. And he's trying to evolve his style. And I just don't think Joe Goossen is going to be able to help him deal with what Tank is bringing to the table. Because Ryan Garcia is not all of a sudden going to sit there and try to use lateral movement and use his jab. He doesn't even throw his jab. He throws it out there more for power. He's never just throwing like a half jab, a feint, up and down, things that just preoccupy you, throw the jab out, blind you, then boom, come behind with the right hand. He doesn't fight like that. But I think what really gives Tank the advantage in that fight is Tank has patience, man. Patience, man. You watch what happened with Tank and Rolly. And I'm gonna get to Adrian Broner. You watch what happened with Tank and Rolly. Rolly came out, touched Tank up pretty good. Tank said, oh, hell no. Tank got on his bicycle, started boxing, remaining patient. And then you saw what happened a round after. Let a couple shots go, test the waters, see what happens, right? Yeah, let's not take it to the stupid. Test the waters, see how Rolly responded. And then we saw Rolly start responding, getting a little bit uncomfortable, getting a little anxious. Patience paid off. Tank banged him out of there. So I got to go with Tank against Ryan Garcia. Plus, Ryan Garcia fights tall, right? That's an advantage being the taller man with longer reach. But he keeps that chin in the air. Ryan Garcia doesn't tuck his chin. People keep talking about Ryan Garcia's height. Tank Davis is used to fighting guys who are taller than him. What's Tank? 5'2"? BVO boxing. What's going on, man? But y'all tell me, what's Tank? 5'2"? 5'3"? You think Tank's not accustomed to fighting guys who are 5'8", 5'9"? You know what I'm saying? These guys run around at 5'8" and 5'9". Their ability to melt down to 135 is crazy. Crazy. So Tank's accustomed. So I think Tank blasts Ryan Garcia out of there. But the one thing I will say about Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, I think since we're talking about the pay-per-view model and pay-per-view and stuff like that, Tank not hitting his numbers, you got to have the right dancing partner. If these fighters today, I'm going to get to Adrian Broner, right? If these fighters today were fighting the best, there would be no pay-per-view conversation. True indeed, pay-per-view wouldn't be hitting 1,500,000, but they'd be hitting 300,000 to 400,000. And if they continue to have the best, fight the best, shit. Now, this is just my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. But I think definitely, man, pay-per-view will get back up to about 500,000. But you look at in the past, man, when guys were hitting those numbers. Yeah, Ryan has the power to stop Tank, but I think Tank is gonna be too smart. But you look at before, the best were fighting the best. Mayweather wasn't just sitting here saying, okay, who's the top 15? Let me just pick this guy from this country or this guy from the States, but no one really knows him. What you see in the guys getting in the ring, a big name fighting a nobody. No one has really earned the right to really do that yet. Like, the demand isn't really there. Now, let me talk about Adrian Broner, and I'm going to get it because I'm going on this. I think you guys would agree with me, right? If the best fight the best, people are going to pay because there's a demand, especially if people know the names. But most importantly is they got to get uncomfortable. They got to get out there, man, and start marketing themselves more. If not, it is what it is. Like it doesn't matter if you're talking about boxing, if you're talking about, they're a product. If you're trying to promote a product and sell a product, man, you got to market the product, right? So we talk about their brands, their profiles, their platforms. Someone has to understand it, but you know what? You can lead a horse to water and not make him drink. And some of these guys, they just don't want to do it. Okay? So now, patience is a virtue. Okay. Now, Adrian Broner. Now, when it comes to this whole BLK Prime, what's up, Tip Bayless? When it comes to BLK Prime, when it comes to PBC, when it comes to pay-per-view, when it comes to who's making what, there's only one person who talks that I'll listen to. It's not, hey, not even me, because I'm telling you, I don't know. What I'm telling you is I sit back, I do a lot of reading, apply a little bit of intelligence, try to analyze, and then I try to make an educated assumption, my best guess kind of on what's really going on. Because there's only one person, boxer-wise, that would talk, and I would listen to and say, you know what, he's not lying. That's Adrian Broner. So if Adrian Broner says Terence Crawford really made that money, I tend to believe that Terence Crawford made the $10 million because Adrian Broner has no reason to lie. Now, some people would say, hey, well, Adrian Broner is going to say what he has to say because he's on BLK Prime and he doesn't want to mess up anything. You know what? I understand. I totally understand why you would say that. But for me, and watching Adrian Broner over the years, he'd rather just get quiet and say, I don't know. That's what he does in interviews. If you start pressing Adrian Broner about something that he doesn't want to talk about, Adrian Broner gets quiet. I don't know about that, man. You know, all I know is this. And that's his way of kind of pivoting the conversation away from something that he doesn't want to talk about. Even if he's privy to what's really going on, he won't do that. Man, I don't know. You don't know? So with Adrian Broner, if he comes out and says he's making, he's going to make, you know, he made $3 million, $4 million or whatever. Because remember, Adrian Broner, he has an 8-figure deal in place for 3 fights. I think a lot of people just think it's going to be, oh, he's just getting $10 million. Listen, there was something out there about like his first fight, like $4 to $5 million. I'm like, damn. So, you know, I just assume probably be around, you know, close to about $3 million a fight or something. That first fight is supposed to be between like $4 and $5 million. So I'm like, damn, what kind of 3-figure deal did he get? But when I sat back and thought about it, I said, maybe he really is getting that kind of money. If for one fight, they gave Terence Crawford $10 million. So maybe. So when it comes to fighters, even the content creators don't know, man. You know, I watch some of these other, I've been on a couple, I don't stay on there long, man. I'm so busy with my damn kids. But I'll get on and I'll watch some of these guys. Man, they be lying, man. They throw shit out there just to get people to come in and the bandwagoners jump on and they start buying into it and believing it. And that's why you watch guys who are putting information out. They keep changing. They say one thing today, one thing tomorrow. Oh, you know what? Man, let me come back and say this. That's corny, man. And people don't recognize that. I'm going to stay consistent. And I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know. And what I've learned is, yeah, I'm being, hey, Donald Destruction, man, Bully Block. I'm just being real, man. That's why I remain consistent. You know, it's frustrating. We don't know. But one thing I will say, I was about to say something about not knowing, is when it comes to this whole thing about people saying things, man. Deontay Wilder, Tank Davis, this pay-per-view. It's just really a bad situation. I don't believe nothing they say. I know what I was about to say. I lost my track of thought for a second. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Don't believe anything until you see it happen. Like that's kind of the point that I've reached. When you look at what the hell's going on right now, Errol Spence at 154. Who would have ever expected to see that madness that's taking place? There's people who will argue with me and say, hey, you're delusional. There's no way in the world Errol Spence can fight Keith Thurman at 154 and that fulfill Errol Spence's obligation to defend his WBC against a mandatory. Yo, are you really going to sit there, man, and tell me that? Y'all really going to tell me that? Did y'all just not hear what this fool Suleiman said? This is why I know some people, they just have these knee-jerk reactions. They see something somebody throws out there, and a video or a comment or somebody on a website throws some stuff out. Yeah. Some people throw some stuff on the website, and people they have no idea the source from where these people are getting this information from. They just see something they don't agree with, and they say all kind of crap. Now, the WBC came and said they don't know. We'll have to wait and see who wins, what weight they're going to continue to campaign at. That is madness. So the reason I say I'm bringing that up is because if they'll say that, and if they'll do that, and that makes absolutely no sense. You're talking about the rules they have in place, this explicit guidance, right? And they're going to violate their own guidance. Then why would we sit here and start believing that Wilder is doing less than 100,000 on pay-per-view? That Tank Davis is doing less than 60,000 on pay-per-view. It makes you wonder what the hell is really going on. So, I just have to be careful with this stuff, man. This is probably the most frustrated I've been in a while. And, just with boxing, you know what I'm saying? I started this channel like in April of last year, man. I was just chilling. I had started it 2 years before. YouTube gave me the business, kicked me off, man. So I started it back and things are going all right. But then you got to be careful with the kind of videos you put out, because you can put a video out, and if you're really not doing your homework, man, it can really put you in a bad spot. Clickbait. Thought I was tripping. No, you weren't. Salute, OG. All right, Crypto Zoo. Thank you, man. And Showtime for not being a genuine sports platform. Yep. I think I definitely, you know what, when you look at this is the problem. If guys are gonna, I don't know how many of y'all, some of you guys probably have never done any wrong in your life. But for those of you who have done wrong or got caught doing wrong, you tend to learn to just listen a whole lot and talk very little. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk. Now, you look at Terrence Crawford got in front of that camera when he decided not to take the Spence fight, didn't he? He got on there on Instagram, set a time. It's like the whole damn world attended that feed, that live, didn't they? And we listened to Terrence Crawford. Now, I'm not saying I agree with what he said or not. What I'm saying is that was probably the worst thing that Terrence Crawford could have done, is because he got up there and started talking. Now, whether he was right or wrong, he should have just sat back and just kept quiet. Imagine if what's his name, Terrence Crawford wouldn't have said nothing. He just sat back, did his fight on BLK Prime, let everybody call him Terrence the Duck Crawford, Terrence the Shit Sandwich Crawford, all the things people were calling Terrence Crawford, right? All kind of horrible things they were calling that man. A lot of troubles, no felonies. Yep, that's things happen, right? But imagine if Crawford would have never said anything and just let things play out, and let Steven Espinoza, with his kind of eggplant-shaped head, come out there and start talking a whole lot. Earl Spence saying what he's saying, and just let things play out. The fact that Earl Spence is now fighting Keith Thurman at 154. A lot of the attention has shifted from Terrence Crawford over to Earl Spence. So now when I'm out here reading posts, man, I'm seeing everybody saying Earl Spence is this and that. It's not positive, man. But what I'm getting at is, when you start talking a whole lot, man, you put yourself in a bad space. Nobody wants to be the butt of a joke all the time, PBC or Cancer the Head. Yeah, and you look at what's going on with PBC, man. Let me tell you, Al Heyman, maybe he has a little too much brain. All right? And it also makes me wonder, Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather, right? This is what is still confusing to me. Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather say they're like, if without Al Heyman, there's no Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman are one, PBC and one. So Floyd talks like he holds stake in PBC. Remember, they were talking about the fight. If Floyd Mayweather doesn't say there's going to be a fight, there's no fight. So it makes me wonder, what what role is Floyd playing in all this stuff when it comes to the fighters, the fights being made, and if he has a huge stake in it, right? Why in the world did Gervonta Davis kind of break away from Mayweather, but still affiliated with Al Heyman? Because essentially that means he's still affiliated and working with Floyd Mayweather. So something just doesn't make sense there. But the bottom line, man, if these guys want to get their pay-per-view numbers up, it's not rocket science. Have the best fighting the best. Thank you, Modern King Boxing, man. Yeah. I just try to look, man. I'm not a guy out here that's trying. I love boxing, and I played a lot of sports, but when I started boxing, I don't know, that shit did something to me, man. I don't know how many of you guys have boxed before, but I used to be in the bed in my sleep throwing jabs and shit. I watch boxing matches. I'm slipping punches in my chair in my living room watching fights. So I've got it bad. You think I was on? What's that drug these guys are on now, man? Walking around all crazy, man, at K2 or whatever. You think I was on K2 the way I be in there, man, catching the shakes when I watch boxing. But bottom line, the easy fix to all this pay-per-view stuff, put the best in there with the best. Even when Miguel Cotto was fighting, man, it was big names every fight. Floyd Mayweather, big names. Sheamus De La Hoya, big names. Sugar Ray Leonard, big names. All those guys fought. NDO Muscle Food is better. It's all big names. But everybody just thinks they can come and pick and choose a fight against a guy with no name and that they can go now and make 30, 40 million. Like it's just the fans are letting these boxers know, right, that they're not going for the BS anymore. Fans want to see the best fight the best. And that's really what this boils down to. Because I'll tell you what, the same way the majority of us have a fire stick. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anyone is really jumping around on Facebook no more trying to catch all the different streams. The majority of us have a fire stick. But if sometimes that fire stick acts up, but I'll tell you what, knowing that the fire stick is probably about an 80% success rate, right? And there was a really big fight coming on against two big names, people would pay their money. I'm not saying not everybody would, but you get more people and you'll see those pay-per-view numbers bumping up. But you got to get to the tango, and you can say, well, how come they're not putting the best against the best? Shit, you can answer that because everybody wants to stay undefeated. Everybody's scared to lose. This is the era of if you have one loss, you suck. If you have one loss, your career is over. That's not specific to a weight class. That's up and down. Look at what's going on with matter of fact, look when Wilder lost in those fights. Now, I'm not going to get into all that. But, it is what it is. But the whole story and some of the shenanigans with Fury and Wilder, right? But people, he's done. He's this. Wilder's suck. Wilder's this. He can't box. He's blah, blah. Man, the man won a bronze medal. Okay? Get him man some credit. It doesn't matter what you think about his opponents. This man's knocking people out. You just don't get in the ring and just have power and get to the level he's gotten to. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Okay? I know a lot of guys who are fighting just in the local gyms, amateur, didn't get the opportunity, man, that hit super hard. Like, they'll hit you, man, your damn neck, your damn chin will spin around. You do a whole 180, right? You'll be facing backwards. They just, skill set. You got to have some kind of skills, right? But let's forget about Wilder. People said he was done. Look at Anthony Joshua. Man took a couple losses. All of a sudden, he's done. Oh, his career is over. No one, and so it can make a person not want to get in there and fight against another elite fighter and risk a loss. Or if they choose to do it because there's so much pressure on them, right? Like, look at AJ. Now let's look at AJ, right? Because we're talking about pay-per-view and stuff like that, and the fact that we can't get the fights we want, the best fighting the best. You look at AJ. Look at what happened when he got in there with Usyk. I know he didn't want to really get in there and fight him again. But he got in there and fought him again. So now you have the best fighting the best, but someone who really doesn't want to get in there because he doesn't want to risk a loss. So he gets in the ring, and that's why he puts forth a half-hearted performance. That's why when he throws his shots, big, strong AJ, right? This man half committing on the shots because he's so afraid of what's coming back at him. So you get a guy who comes in, and that is even worse to get in the ring and fight scared than to just not get in the ring at all. Yeah, I got Showtime faithfully and ESPN Plus. It's still an abundance of good matchups. Yeah, you get some good fights, but you know, as far as the fans though, like we're diehard boxing fans. I'm talking about that crossover appeal and the casuals and the guys who really not into boxing, but they're just like, oh, this person, let me go check him out. You know, the person who isn't on here following all these videos and different content creators are putting out it, all these different boxingscene.com, Boxing News 24, BT Sports, all that, reading articles from the goddamn Philippine Times about seeing what's going on in boxing in the Philippines. See, we're from that cloth. But to become a true pay-per-view star, you need to be able to get people outside of our community. And a lot of these guys aren't doing it. But then again, like I was saying, with Anthony Joshua, guys don't want to get in there and fight and lose. Now, Deontay Wilder, since we're talking about Joshua, talking about Usyk, you know, Deontay Wilder right now, pay-per-view, a huge pay-per-view event could be coming up for him and Andy Ruiz. But realistically, right, what kind of numbers do you think Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz are really going to do? Now, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 4, that, even though some people say, oh, man, we don't want to see, like, that would do huge numbers because you got the right Dyson partners. Ages entertaining, only fighter didn't work, like it was Joseph Parker. Yeah, I could understand. But you got the right dancing partner, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And there's somewhat of a storyline there. But Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, how many people really think Andy Ruiz will beat Deontay Wilder? I don't think he beats him. Modern King Boxing, Chinchilla says, yeah, you better get you a fire stick, Chinchilla. Modern King Boxing, AJ's entertaining, fighting. Yeah, Joseph Parker was kind of doing like this guy, Karen Chikadzian against Jaron Ennis. He was more or less boxing and running around the ring. It kind of is what it is. Buddy Block Fighting says, my homie got a fire stick, but he hates boxing now. I understand. Crypto Zorro says, based on what I've seen, I think Wilder Ruiz does 95 to 200K. I think it could. You know what? You make up a good point. Because we know with Andy Ruiz and the fact that he became the first Mexican heavyweight champion, he's going to get a lot of support. And we know when it comes, let's just be real, man. When it comes to certain races, you know, you and I say cultures, right? Cultures, right? You're going to see some support when it comes to a lot of the Mexican, Hispanic fighters, especially Mexican fighters, man. They're going to support them, man. I live out here in Texas, man. And let me tell you, I sit down and start talking boxing with some of my buddies that may just happen to be Mexican. And, man, them guys will argue you tooth and nail about damn Canelo, man. You know what I'm saying? They start bringing up Morales, Barrera. And so what I'm saying is they're going to support Andy Ruiz. They're going to support him. So I could see Crypto Zorro where Ruiz and Wilder could, you know, get up to around 200,000 buys. I could see that. Donald Destruction says, bro, I have a serious question. I really don't know the answer, but maybe you can help. Who do you think sells the most between Fury and Spence? Well, it just depends. We're talking about, you know, Fury's over there in the UK doing like 1 million buys, but it's like $35 for the pay-per-view. But over here stateside, I think Fury would probably do more than Spence. But then again, it depends on the dancing partner. You know, Fury and Wilder, it's kind of unfair. But if we're talking about just like Spence just going in there with just about anybody, he'd have to write the right dancing partner. When Spence did the most pay-per-views, is my understanding, when he fought Mikey Garcia. That's where Spence did the most pay-per-view buys. Tyson Fury and Wilder, man, you know, I don't have that. I don't remember how many pay-per-view buys they had, but I'd almost want to say if they both got to pick the right opponent, I don't know, man. Right now, stateside could be Spence. But I know for a fact that it's kind of unfair when you look at what Tyson Fury is doing in the UK because the price point for the pay-per-view is cheaper. If these guys were fighting like Spence and Wilder were fighting like the price point that Terrence Crawford was fighting for, maybe they get some more buys. But at the end of the day, that fire stick and people and just not wanting to pay, and the fact that the shit comes on YouTube like within 15 minutes of the fight concluding, it's on YouTube. So it's kind of hard to say. But I may have to give it to Spence with the right dancing partner. But Tyson Fury is a huge name, a huge draw. Need to get a VPN on it. Yeah, you get a VPN to get hooked up. Bully block fighting, that's not boxing. You're not good till you take an L. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with losing, as long as you don't quit. You got to fight. All days a comeback. You learn from your losses. True. UFC MMA has navigated losses better than boxing. That's right. That's because Dana White controls it all. Dana White's putting the best against the best. And the UFC fans are understanding. They know that those guys who are fighting, they're not in there to tickle each other. And they're giving it, you got guys getting kicked in the face, knee in the face, man. That's crazy. So, yeah, Dana White, that's why his whole model, from the pay-per-view model to the way he matches his fighters, that's why it's successful. Because he controls all that. The fighters don't have a say. He either do what he says or you can leave the organization. And it's a dictatorship over there. Iron-fisted rule. That's not what happens in boxing. As much as these boxers say, I'm my own boss, let me tell y'all right now, these boxers aren't their own bosses, man. You know who the boss is? The guys who put up the damn money. The damn promoters running the show over there, man, and the damn sanctioning bodies. Not the boxers, man. They don't put up any money for a fight, so they're not their boss. They do have a voice. They do have a say, but they're not their own boss. It's crazy. You know who's actually out here right now in boxing? Who can kind of call his own shots to a certain extent more than anyone else? And that's Terrence Crawford, man, because you look at when, it doesn't matter if you like Terrence Crawford or not. Look at when De La Hoya got away from a promoter. Start making real money. Look at when Mayweather got away from a promoter. Start making real money. Look at what happened here with Edgar Berlanga. You guys know Edgar Berlanga just left Top Rank. I think he shouldn't have left the nest so quick. I don't think Edgar Berlanga is ready to spread his wings and fly. But nonetheless, there's a niche for Edgar Berlanga. How many Puerto Rican fighters are out right now that have really big names? There's a couple on Top Rank, but the biggest name right now probably is Edgar Berlanga. So he may be able to come out here and he may get the support from a culture, like we just talked about. And he may be able to go out here and do good numbers on pay-per-view because they will spend their money. But he's got to come out here and win because Edgar Berlanga has been looking that good. Fury all day sells more, bro. Hey, again, I think we all have an opinion on it, man, and we're entitled to our opinions. But I just think with the right opponent, especially with the buzz that Spence has going, Spence may sell more. I don't know, but I honestly don't know. Crypto Zoro says Wilder and Fury fight, and the world is watching. Spence and Crawford really is just inter-American beef. You're right, but it goes back to the profiles, man. And I really think with Deontay Wilder being his stateside, I think he benefited a lot from coming and fighting Tyson Fury. He did. And Wilder was known for this super powerful American fighter, the big right hand. And what else helped Wilder is that to this day, that shit went viral. So there's people all over the world who got to know about Deontay Wilder because of the till this day. That went viral. So now everyone's like, who's the till this day guy? Oh, he's Tyson Fury. Everyone, for the most part, internationally, right, aware of Tyson Fury because of what he was able to do with the Klitschko's and everything in his story. Drugs, suicidal, leaving boxing, coming back. So I think Deontay Wilder benefited from having Tyson Fury as an opponent. Chinchilla Fury does sell out the stadiums. Wilder and Fury fight and all. Yeah, Spence and Crawford, they just have to create. They got to create a demand for people to want to watch them. Outside of boxing, because right now, somebody said something the other day, and I think some people took it wrong when they talked about Spence and Crawford, and they said something that I thought was really inappropriate. Something along the lines of their fans being I don't know. I'm just going. We all adults here, right? They said they're ghetto, right? And I don't talk like that. I mean, I'm 47 years old, man. I did 25 years in the military, so you learn real quick on there's a way to talk to people. And I could say something to you that could offend the hell out of you and never use profanity, never call you out your name, never say anything disrespectful, right? Called wordplay. But what I will say is when they talk about, oh, most of their fans are ghetto, right? A lot of people didn't like that. I didn't like it. I thought it was inappropriate. But being able to peel the layers back to try to understand what is this ignorant clown trying to say? But what he's saying is probably a lot of those fans aren't going to want, they're going to want to watch the fight but not pay for it. And so I tried to take the message out and decode the ignorance to make sense of what this person was saying. And it's like, okay, well, I can work with that. And I think there may be a little bit of truth there that a lot of the fans who want to see that fight, but they don't want to pay for it because nobody wants to. Most people don't want to pay for it. But there are some, but for the most part, they're not. So that's why I think you see like this stuff seeing just like a local internet beef between Spence and Crawford is because they're creating a demand on Twitter for people to see the fight because that's where their presence is. They're creating a bit of a demand, in YouTube with what little bit of videos they're doing because that's where their presence is. But they're not creating a demand by going to other countries and doing humanitarian work and being involved here stateside in commercials and promoting different, getting sponsorship deals. They're not doing that. So they're not creating a demand for anyone outside of the Twitter world and YouTube world to see them. Because the market is what's going to drive whether or not there's going to be a fight between those two, not Twitter and YouTube nonsense. And someone needs to get a hold of those guys real quick, man, and wake them up, right? Because I honestly don't think they're going to fight anyway. I don't think they're going to fight. So we can just forget about it. Spence supposed to fight Keith Thurman. First of all, Spence may lose that fight. I understand Spence being the betting favorite, but Keith Thurman, man, his back is against a wall. And I just can't see him coming out there and trying to lose. Okay, we've never seen Keith Thurman knocked out. He's been hurt to the body, but no one's ever stopped him. And Keith Thurman has never really gassed out in the fight to where he just stopped fighting. That man fights to the last bell. And, he does get hurt to the body, and Spence is vicious, has a vicious body attack. And I agree. I think Spence should be the betting favorite, but I'm just saying I'm not counting Keith Thurman out. Now, if Spence can get past Keith Thurman, right? Now he has 60 days after that to make a deal with Terrence Crawford. I said this the other day. Spence and Terrence Crawford, 60 days. 30 of those days are going to be just wasted with communication breakdowns. And then from that, they have 30 days basically to make a deal. And Steven Espinoza just came out and said that, to me, like I said, they should pick up from the 50% point in negotiations. They don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to negotiations. They kind of got right there to the finish line, and Crawford said you just took too long, and he bounced, right? He pulled out. So if they're going to come back, why don't we pick them at the 50% point and then just work the other half? But Espinoza is saying, no, they got to kind of start all over again, basically reinvent the wheel because of the way things were handled. So that being said, I just don't think Terrence Crawford or Spence or his team are the kind of people that are going to be okay with trying to sort out a deal within 30 days. Now, what I think the smart thing is to do, but this is what I don't know, they should be talking about it right now. They should be trying to get something in place right now. Because if Spence was to win that fight, you would think that they would already have a deal in place and agree to that where they can, Crawford can come into the ring and they can announce it. Like they've done it, people have done in the past, boxers have done in the past. But I don't think they're looking that far out. I honestly don't, because I don't think Spence wants to come back down to 147. You hear him talk about it. It's like he's torturing himself to get down there. So I can't see him coming down at 147 to try to fight anymore. I just don't. I think the ship is kind of sailed. Let me see what else we have. Old days are coming. Like nobody gives no respect. Fairy does sell out. Cryptos are wilder than fairies. Crawford, internet. Yep, that's right. Donald Destruction says, thanks, bro. I said Fury and people were laughing like I was crazy. Nah, man. I think a lot of people are bandwagoners who just kind of saying what they hear other people say without getting themselves spun up on the issues. Modern King Boxing says, I just watched the video for Sean Porter, admitted that he thought he could finish the fight with Crawford. I think he would have got brain damage if it was a whole minute left in the round. You know what? I don't know. I think Crawford could have finished the fight, but Porter. I think modern day King Boxing. I think Porter would have finished the fight, but we may have seen him on his bicycle, something that we weren't accustomed to seeing from Sean Porter. We've seen him box. He's another one, a great boxer. We've seen him get up on his toes and box, but probably would have seen him doing more boxing and moving around, and probably would have got more boos from the crowd. And I think his dad would have eventually thrown the towel in, because we know Kenny Toothpick Joe Jackson Porter, he does what the hell he wants, because he sure as hell didn't care about coming out there publicly lynching his son for what he felt wasn't giving it his all in training. And I thought that was foul, the way he, Kenny Toothpick Joe Jackson Porter, how he handled Sean. I thought that was foul. But you're right. If Porter was really hurt and he came in there trying to continue that fight with Crawford, Crawford was going to jump on him, and Crawford doesn't care. He would have hurt him. And you're right, it could have been bad. T World says Walter's last number was heavily impacted by timing. That rescheduled women's card in Devin's undisputed hurt. You know what? That's right. That's true. Everything happening with the Queen and the Shields and what's her name, man, Marshall and Devin Haney, all that happening right around the same time. You're absolutely right. That can contribute to poor pay-per-view performance, man. Modern King Boxing, Wilder and Fury were good stoppages. There wouldn't have been a third fight if it wasn't for Breland. Let me tell you something, man. I'm not going to get into all that in here. I will say this. These are Deontay Wilder's words. There's no proof that Fury cheated, right? That's what Deontay Wilder said. But he says he knows he cheated. And what I will say when it comes to Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, right? It makes you wonder. I don't know what it is. It really makes you wonder when you look at Tyson Fury. He goes out here. He has this fight with Klitschko. Okay? He beats Klitschko, comes back to the UK, doesn't get a hero's welcome. Goes into depression, okay? This man leaves boxing. Now, while Tyson Fury is away from boxing, okay, AJ surfaces, right? You get the Wilders, you get all this stuff going on. During that time, Fury's out here thinking about killing himself. Gives up belts. Gains. What he got up to? Almost 400 pounds? And then, this is what got my attention, right? Without going to the video, I did a video about this, but I'm just going to kind of really condense it. His coach, Davison, was it named Davison? Tyson Fury comes across this guy named Kinahan. And what his coach said is that Kinahan told Tyson Fury that I'm going to make sure that you achieve unbelievable wealth in boxing with me. All of a sudden, Tyson Fury gets back into boxing, loses weight. Bob Arum has the Kinahan guy there. Then you see Fury comes back and gets a fight. He wins. He's still boxing, right? Dance floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. He's no knockout artist, but although Fury did have knockouts on his record, but he wasn't known for the one-hitter quitter. It was more floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, right? Gets through that first guy. Comes out. Otto Wallin. Boom! Fury gets that whole eye busted open. You guys remember that, right? Now, that cut Fury had on that eye. Fight wasn't stopped. And I remember watching that. Now, I didn't remember at this time, no one knew anything about Kinahan. But I remember watching that fight thinking, how come they don't stop this damn fight? But we knew Fury, the Wilder, all that crap, right? So now you look at Fury and Wilder the first fight. Fury dancing, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. Not holding his ground. Fury goes down, gets back up. 12th round, Wilder hits him. Fury goes down. He's knocked out cold, right? Knocked out cold. The referee, who's his name, Jack Reese, he drops down on his knees. His face is no kidding, like maybe 4 inches. I thought he was going to tongue kiss him. Like 4 inches from Tyson Fury. 1, 2. And I remember thinking, why the hell is he trying to wake him up? Like, that's honestly what I was thinking. But I had no idea about Kinahan, none of that crap. So anyway, Tyson Fury comes back to life, finished the fight pretty strong, whatever. It's a draw. A lot of people felt Wilder lost. A lot of people felt he won that fight. I looked at it, 2 knockdowns. Got to give Wilder about 3 of those rounds, those early rounds, right? So Wilder, to me, I thought Wilder pulled it off, but I could understand the draw, but I just felt like the count was long. The count was kind of crazy with him screaming in his face. And I was like, that's unusual. But I didn't really think much of it. Second fight comes along now. And I'm like, okay, here we go, right? Now, we start hearing stuff about guys in his camp and stuff like that, but not really much is being said. Second fight comes out, Wilder has the costume, Breland, all that crap. We saw what happened in that fight. Deontay Wilder bleeding out his ear, all kind of craziness, right? The fight's over, and I remember watching that thinking to myself, I know Tyson Fury said he was going to hold his ground, right? And he was going to fight him, and he was going to knock him out. And I remember thinking, what is it that this guy from the Crunk Gym, right? Sugar Hill, his little weird ass, right? What is it that he bringing to the table? For Tyson Fury to all of a sudden come out here and decide he's going to stand there and exchange with Wilder. Then you look at what happened after the fight. Now you start hearing about sparring partners. And the guy, that one sparring partner said Tyson Fury had some egg weights in his gloves and took the padding out of his gloves. You know, that guy came back. I think he had one fight ever since then. He can't get sparring with nobody. He can't get fights. Did y'all know that? So it made you say, okay, this guy is saying something. People saying Tyson Fury, his knuckles were in the gloves. And I didn't buy into any of that. I didn't buy into none of that. I was like, nah, it's all bull crap, right? Mark Breland gave him the bottle, something weakened him. He got the juju, all this craziness, right? And I'm like, man, I don't believe none of that crap. Then the whole thing about the dent in the head and all that, I said, oh, where's the x-ray, you know? But I didn't really think much of it because I've sparred. I know any of you who've ever sparred or put on gloves, it's kind of hard to think you've got some metal object in your knuckles or your glove and you're punching. Like you break your fingers and hands. So it just didn't make sense. The whole thing about the judges, the commission, the ref, things going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that are happening that this is Wilder saying that people don't know about, but he was set up to lose. And I remember thinking, man, he's a sore loser. He's being a sore loser. So I said, all right, whatever. So then I'm sitting there and I'm getting a lot of flack because I won't buy into that. You know, I'm like, nah, man, Wilder's making excuses. Then this stuff about Kinahan comes up. I'm like, who the hell is Kinahan? And then I start to read and understand that he's a Fury's promoter, tied to the mob, has known to have influence on boxing fights, coming and threatening opponents, threatening judges, threatening referees, you know, his affiliates, right? And I'm like, what the hell is this? Then I find out Tyson Fury is attached to him. Bob Arum is attached to him. Terrence Crawford is attached to him. So that's what got my attention. And I was like, shit. So I started doing my research. I'm like, this can't be true. It was true. And I said, why in the world would Bob Arum pay this man consultation fees? Then I found out he paid him consultation fees for 2 of the Deontay Wilder fights. And for that fight where he fought Otto Wallin. So it kind of makes you wonder, maybe that's why they didn't stop that fight with Wallin busted Fury's eye wide open. Makes you wonder. Maybe there was some influence on that first and second fight. So that's when I started to kind of pay attention. I said, all right, what's the coincidence? Still no proof, but it made me say, where there's smoke, maybe there's some fire. So I left it alone. I still said, I'm not going to get caught up in this crap, but it made me wonder. So then fast forward past that, you have the third fight. Now, if you watch that fight, Tyson Fury, hey, look, he beat him, right? But you watch that fight, and you count, not with your stopwatch, but you do what you think is a referee count. When Wilder knocked Fury down, that first knockdown, that second knockdown, you count and see how that referee gave him a super long count. I'm not saying he wouldn't have got up by 10. I'm not saying he would have been beyond 10. What I'm saying is, you look at that count and see how he's like 3 seconds behind. So at this point, right, I'm saying, man, something just doesn't seem right. Because now I'm sitting here thinking, man, you got this Kinahan shit going on. And I'm still not convinced that there's cheating that's taking place. But I'm like, it's possible. Look, you guys are telling me, man, if boxing is corrupt, right? And the mob has always had some kind of involvement in boxing. There's been guys from the mob come on and do interviews on that Vlad channel and talk about how boxing is one of the easiest sports to manipulate and to corrupt and to fix fights. Because you don't have to necessarily go to the fighters. People behind the scenes you can get to. Man, that blew my mind. So anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? I'm not caught up in any of this crap. So then I'm sitting here and I'm just watching. And then all of a sudden, something comes up with Conor Benn, right? Because remember, Tyson Fury became a knockout artist with Deontay Wilder. No one can figure that out. How the hell did he become a knockout artist? He got the long counts going on. You got all this stuff supposedly behind the scenes. This mob boss involved with all these people, right? Influencing things behind the scenes. Then this stuff with Conor Benn comes out. And then the guy who's his nutritionist, he comes out and he says, anyone who gets caught doing PEDs in boxing is stupid. Those were his words. You'd have to be stupid to get caught. It's so easy to cheat. Now, you're probably saying, why are you talking about Conor Benn? I'm going to tell you why. So I remember reading that and I was like, man, this guy's crazy. Yeah, Conor Benn cheated. The nutritionist is saying this. Then I find out that guy who's Conor Benn's nutritionist, who's saying it's so easy to cheat and there's different pads you can take to increase your stamina, to increase your punching power, right? To increase your punch resistance. That's goddamn Tyson Fury's nutritionist too. And at that point, I said, there's got to be something going on here. And Tyson Fury came out and wouldn't denounce the dude. He spoke highly of the guy and said he's going to stand by his side. He spoke highly of Kinahan, said I'm going to stand by his side. Now, if it was me and they have these two guys that my name's attached to that are doing things that are so-called illegal, one, they're trying to extradite, get his ass back to the States. The other guy is out there, a nutritionist, who just deleted all of his social media accounts because Conor Benn is in hot water for pets. And this same fool is out here saying it's so easy to cheat, you had to be stupid to cheat. I wouldn't be running to those guys. I'd be running away from them. So at that point is when I said, you know what? It's time to do a video. That's why I did that video I did. And it's out there. And that's why I say Tyson Fury and Wilder going to a fourth fight. I still think Tyson Fury is the better boxer. I still think Tyson Fury knows how to use his size. I still think Tyson Fury knows how to wear a person down, tire him out, and just take the fight out of him, right? I still think he can do that. I'm not saying it's going to be a different outcome, but what I'm telling you is if he doesn't have that nutritionist, right? If Malik Scott, because I'm not sure how to take Malik Scott at this point in time, but if Malik Scott and Wilder's team, right, if they're really on it, because remember, he went into that third fight with Wilder. Malik Scott did. And they didn't say nothing about Tyson Fury and gloves or nothing like that. The concern was the referee and the long count. But my thing is, let's forget the referee and the long count. My thing is the nutritionist. Because in that third fight, Wilder hit Fury with some stuff. if you watch, right, everyone just focuses on Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder was just all over the place. He was dead tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had nothing left to give. So every time Fury just farted in the ring, and Wilder was just all over the place, right? But Wilder was hurting Fury in that fight a lot. You got to watch the fight, man. And Fury was Wilder just didn't have enough left. But sometimes he was hurting him at the end of the round. And you watch Fury's nonverbals. It was like, damn. And he'd go back to his corner, and Sugar Hill, the weirdo, would be over there making a bunch of noise and, don't stand in front of him. Don't effing this, don't effing that. And that's why at the end of the fight, Tyson Fury said, I think he said something like it was God, Jesus Christ or something, the way he got through that fight. Like it had to be. Like it was that rough for him. But what I'm saying is, did that nutritionist and whatever he gave Tyson Fury, right? Because the nutritionist talked about how to cycle it, how to know how to time it to where you can take things and it be out your system within a certain amount of hours before VADA or UCAD come in and do the testing. He talked about how to approach it to make sure you never get caught. So my thing is, if Fury had a guy like that in his corner, maybe that's how Fury was able to survive the fight with Wilder. Now, going into a fourth fight without that nutritionist, maybe Wilder wins that fight. But then again, Fury even said 9 out of 10 times he beats Wilder, but 1 out of 10 times he beats me. That's what Fury said. So maybe if they fight again, that could be the 1 time out of the 10, right? Because it doesn't have to be the 10th fight for him to win. It could happen anywhere within those 10 fights if they were to fight 10 times. So maybe this fourth fight will be the one that Deontay Wilder gets him in. But if he beats him, this is where I think for Tyson Fury, I don't even think he wants to go in there. If Tyson Fury really was, if there was foul play, he's not going to want to get in that fight. Because you know how bad it's going to make him look? You're talking about the depression and suicidal and all the crap he went through. Right now, Tyson Fury's on top of the world. Tyson Fury's doing WWE. Tyson Fury out here, man. Everyone loves Tyson Fury right now. But if he got in there and fought Deontay Wilder and he lost, let me tell you something, man. That's going to send him in a downward spiral. Because what it's going to do is going to make everybody say, we knew he cheated. Couldn't beat Deontay Wilder. Outboxed in the first fight, almost killed him the second fight, beat his brains out the third fight. Fourth fight, you don't have Kinahan there. You don't have him. Okay, sorry about that glitch for a second. So what people are going to say is you don't have Kinahan there. You don't have the nutritionist there. You don't have the referees cheating for you. You don't have the judges and the influence from the mob behind the scenes. Now it's just you and Wilder. 2 men squaring up, no advantage. Wilder knocks him out. Fury always cheated. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just telling you that's the direction it's going to go. All right? So for Wilder and Fury 4, I understand Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Wilder going to fight Fury. Let me tell y'all something. Everything that I just told you is not, that's not my opinion. This whole nutritionist thing, this whole thing about Kinahan, yo, man, that's not something that I made up. All right? So if anyone agrees, leave it in the comments because I'm about to scroll through because I talked for a lot just now. Let me see what you guys have to say. All right, I got to Modern Kings about Sean Porter. T-Roy Wilder's last number was heavily impacted. Yep, we talked about that. Wilder and Fury were good stoppages. There would have been a third. Yep, that's what got me to talk in that rant just now. So yeah, Modern King Boxing. I hope you kind of understand what I was trying to say just now. Al Haymon is the boss. Yeah, Al Haymon, man, he's calling the shots. It's not the boxers. Texas, you better go see all them Tex fighters out there and get some interviews. Yep, I agree with you. Canelo is, let me see, where'd I go? Preach. Let me get back. I think I just skipped some stuff, man. Damn, I hit this damn thing and jumped over some stuff. I think Canelo, okay, yeah, here it goes. Canelo is the only true decision influencer. Yeah, I think Canelo, man, I think he's gotten some help as well. The bosses and the shareholders, Al Haymon has the answer to. That's true, man. I think I'm not sure what Al Haymon is going to do going forward, but he's got to be feeling that pressure too because You know, the whole thing about Al Heyman and his fighters, right? Everyone to talk about Al Heyman, they talk about the type of money they made, right? Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, you know, everyone who was over there, the Charlo boys, right? Everyone who was over there signed to Al Heyman. Everyone talked about how much money they were making with him. Now, I don't think that's the case anymore. So I'm going to wait. We're going to wait and see what happens to Al Heyman, what happens to his stable of fighters, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Because right now, if you got like when the Zone came around, they overpaid everybody. That's why Eddie Hearn is upside down a couple billion that contributed to the $6 billion plus at the Zone. But with Al Heyman, if the money's drying up, we're going to see what these fighters are going to do, because maybe they jump ship, and if BLK Prime is paying out big money, maybe they go over there for a little 1 year run, make real money, and get out of it. Adrian Broner did it. Okay, so again, Al Heyman may be the boss, but if the money's drying up, the boss can't pay the employees, those guys are going to go find work elsewhere. And that's what Broner did, because he didn't want to fight a monster, and he didn't want to get in there with a killer, because Adrian Broner wanted the type of money he was used to. They couldn't pay him. This is a good example of what you see happening with that guy, with that damn pay-per-view model, and how it doesn't work, and how they try to hit Adrian Broner with the okie doke, and look, we'll give you $500,000 and some of this pay-per-view. He's like, hell no. I need X amount of dollars, but we can't pay you that anymore. You're no longer a draw. There's no longer a demand. What we've been talking about this whole video, creating a demand, right? There's no longer a demand for you. But if you want that kind of money, because you have the name that these fighters need on their resume, we'll give you $4 million. Go fight Boots Ennis. Broner was like, man, you must be crazy. So they were going to sacrifice Adrian Broner. So he went to BLK Prime. They're like, you can pick any opponent you want. We're going to give you an 8-figure deal for 3 fights. And Broner was like, shit, I'm out of there. Come down Red Catch. Picked up Red Catch. Red Catch and his team. It ain't Red Catch fault. His promoter don't want to put Broner in there, because Broner keeps changing the damn weight. Red Catch wanted 135. Broner said 144. Now he's saying 147. By fight night, Broner may want 160. So now he's fighting Hank Lundy. Chinchilla. I think Canelo has only been signed 1 fight deals. Yeah. Even Canelo. Canelo went over there to, what's his name? Eddie Hearn and Snatchroom. It's not even Matchroom no more, Snatchroom, because if he can get you over there, he'll snatch all kind of money on the expense of your health, because he's trying to get his ass out the red. So Snatchroom Boxing, even he is trying to kill Canelo. You know, Snatchroom is out here trying to put Canelo back in there with Bivol, and now they're trying to make it a fight at 168 for the undisputed, and trying to tell Bivol, if you get past your next fight, then you could get a shot at Canelo. Like, what are we talking about here? Bivol doesn't care about Canelo. He already beat the brakes off Canelo. And Bivol's not all about money. The man's about legacy. There's not many fighters you see today that's chasing legacy. Most of them are chasing money, okay? So Bivol's not going for the okie doke. You know, and Eddie Hearn is out here trying to twist it. If you can get past, then we'll give you a shot at the undisputed distinction at 168. Man, shut your ass up, Eddie Hearn. You know what I'm saying? The man still hasn't learned to listen. He's still talking. Fast Eddie Hearn. Fast Eddie. Bullcrap. But Canelo, his numbers aren't where the Zone was expecting. They overpaid him. So Canelo's got this guarantee. Millions of dollars. Those pay-per-view numbers aren't where they need them. And it is what it is, man. So Eddie Hearn has some work to do. That's why you see like Anthony Joshua, him and Eddie Hearn. They're like conjoined twins. It's a symbiotic relationship. Anthony Joshua can't escape Eddie Hearn. It's like one of them life contracts. He's a lifer. And Eddie Hearn gonna fight. It's like a dog. Them fighting pits, man. He gonna fight him and fight him and fight him until Eddie Hearn makes as much money he could possibly make off of him. Anthony Joshua's already talking about retiring. So when you get guys talking about retiring, I mean, you got one foot out the door, man. Anthony Joshua got a foot out the door. But he's trying to pull that other foot out the door, but Eddie Hearn holding that foot like this. Oh, hell no. You're not leaving this house. Get your ass back here in Snatchroom. Get out there and fight. That's the real deal, man. So with Canelo, he's going to keep doing 1 fight deals. He's going to bounce around because there's a demand for him, and he's going to make his money. Canelo may become a billionaire here before he retires, but he's looking to retire too. Deontay Wilder looking to retire. These guys only look for big fights. They're not looking for the best fights. They're looking for the biggest fight, make the most money. And if it's a low-threat opponent, they don't care. If they can make 30, 40 million, they're going to take it. All right? So the bosses is the shareholder. Yep. I think Canelo has been the only one. Yeah, Canelo can get away with it. He can still get away with it. If Crawford fights Conor Benn next, he's going to get a fat bag of money from BLK at DAZN. People pay attention. You see the fact that Conor Benn, who to me is he's damn cheap, but it is what it is. He's coming out here now. WBC, hurry up. Finish your investigation. My name is cleared already. And what's his name? Eddie Hearn, promoter of the year, right? Did he win that? But Eddie Hearn, he's got connections. He's going to make sure Conor Benn is back fighting here in the next couple months. He's going to fight whatever, probably a nobody. And then don't be surprised if they can lure Crawford over, because this is what I've heard, right? Remember, don't hold me to this, because unlike other content creators, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what I see happening with Crawford and what I've heard. What I see happening is Crawford's going to come back and fight a mandatory because he has to, right? Conor Benn dropped out of the WBO rankings. But who knows if they can get him back in there, but I don't see that. Terence Crawford, he's going to be fighting around the time of Thurman and Spence, so I can't see Crawford fighting Thurman. So when you go down that list, right, Boots Ennis is already over there. He got a title in the IBF. He can't fight Crawford. Plus, Boots Ennis has to fight Villa. Okay? Villa's the guy who just kicked Rashidi Ellis' ass. So Boots Ennis and Crawford, that ain't happening. Virgil Ortiz and Crawford, the fight's not happening. Virgil Ortiz and Stan Eunice fighting for the WBA. All right? The winner of that's going to be a mandatory to whoever the hell is has the WBA belt. Okay? So now you come down past that, it's Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman and Spence just happen to be fighting maybe around the time where Crawford's getting back in the ring. So you can't fight Keith Thurman at number 3. Come on down past that. Who do you got there? Alexis Rocha. That could be Crawford's mandatory. Now, if it's not Crawford's mandatory, in my opinion, when they come on down a little bit further, they have my boy there, Blair the Flair Cobb. Don't get mad at Terence Crawford if he has to fight Alexis Rocha, but especially if he fights Blair the Flair Cobb. Oh my God. People are they're gonna kill Terence Crawford if he gets in the ring with Blair the Flair Cobb. People calling him a duck already, right? If he fights Blair the Flair, right? Mr. Woo! People are gonna eat Terence Crawford alive. But I just wanted to break that down to you because that could be what's coming your way. Alexis Rocha or Blair the Flair. But don't get mad at Crawford. Now, after he gets past his mandatory, something else that could be happening. Now, he can do what he wants after that, right? I think he's either going to fight Manny Pacquiao because Crawford can do it. He's not tied to nobody. He gets through this mandatory. He only has one belt. If him and Spence can't work the deal out, or if Thurman wins and the WBC says, okay, now somehow they give Thurman the damn welterweight WBC belt, and then him and Crawford can't work it out, that means Crawford is like, all right, cool. F all this. He's going after money now. Crawford has a bunch of kids. His boys are wrestlers and athletes. Crawford likes fishing. He likes being with his family. He's looking for retirement. Who can give Crawford more money than Manny Pacquiao? Nobody right now. Pacquiao comes back. He's fighting for a belt. You get the whole Asian continent going crazy for Pacquiao. So that fight's going to make big money for Crawford. But if he chooses not to do that, right? So if he can't get the undisputed thing off the ground, right? This is a fact. If he can't get it off the ground with Spence or Thurman or whatever the hell's going on, and he's sitting there looking for an opponent, and it's not Pacquiao, right? I've heard that Josh Taylor was talking about, what's that called, like champion in recess, where you leave your belts at 140, then he'll come up to 147, and he'll get a mandatory shot at Terence Crawford. That fight could happen in the UK. Now, we're talking about the UK, back on Conor Benn. That could be Conor Benn as well. If he comes back and he does good in his comeback fight, there will be a lot of money there. So Terence Crawford, after he gets through this mandatory, he's in a good position because he either goes into an undisputed distinction or he goes into a big money fight with either Pacquiao, could be Josh Taylor, shit, could be Conor Benn. Now, for those of you who are saying, no, I don't see that happening, look, don't try to understand this from a logical boxing perspective. Try to understand this from Terence Crawford being about his money and being a free agent and can do what the hell he wants. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So that's what I think is going to happen when it comes to Terence Crawford if they can't make that fight. And that's how I think Conor Benn gets the fight. And I do think it's going to be big money from BLK or DAZN. I really do. So Terence Crawford, to me, people say what they want about him. You got to strip the emotion away. He's in a better position than Errol Spence, in my opinion. All right. Modern King Boxing. Not sure, just the stuff I've been reading about Al Haymon in debt with hedge funds and waiting on a new deal. You know, I keep hearing that too. They're waiting on a new deal. They're waiting on money. They're waiting on funding. I'll tell you this I don't know how, I'm not quite sure how all that operates, but what I will tell you is when you're dealing with an operating budget, and I can tell you from my own experience, right? I can't say with Showtime and boxing, but I would think there's some similarities. You got a fiscal year allocation, you got an annual allocation. And you have something where you project out several years, kind of like, hey, this is what we know. We normally do about X amount of fights every year. This is kind of what we're looking at. It's kind of the price point, X, Y, and Z. This is about how much money we're going to need allocated. And from there, they can look at their projections and determine the numbers that need to get hit as far as the pay-per-view milestones, et cetera. And then they can determine the kind of these guarantees for fighters. And that's how all that works, right? Now, I just really condensed that because I don't want to start talking on my ass, but what I'm telling you right now is facts, right? But I do believe that maybe the fact that these guys are paying fighters so much money, and in the last 2 years, fiscal and annually, right, they may have overpaid some fighters because they didn't expect the pay-per-view numbers to be so low if they're being accurately reported. And if that's the case, they could be in a bad shape. Not like DAZN, but they could be kind of, upside down as far as some of their money. So they could be waiting to see what's going to happen with the new deal and, and trying to take that new deal, resolve some of the debt, and then be very clever on how they go forward paying their fighters. Now, what I anticipate, fighters are going to be disgruntled. So what I'm saying is pay attention to see what happens over the next year, maybe 18 months, and listen to what fighters are saying. And I would start with those Charlo brothers because they're probably the most emotional fighters in boxing. And they'll come out here and rant and rave and say all kinds of stuff. So if something goes left and Al Haymon can't contain it, we could see the crumbling of that PBC empire. But then again, I don't know. We're just having a healthy dialogue, just a conversation. Crypto Zorro, you're speaking fresh right now, OG. Thank you. Chinchilla, thank you for your service. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem, man. I think anybody, young people, if you're not quite sure what you want to do when you finish high school, you might as well join the military to get paid to make up your mind. I joined the Air Force. Y'all see that out there? Them stripes up there? I was a retired E9 enlisted rank, right? You can't go any higher. So I got paid to make up my mind. It all worked out, man. Al is the man. Stop hating. I'm not hating on Al. We're just having an honest conversation, man. These are the kind of comments here where, it's cool. Hey, I want to hear from everybody, but that's somebody who's doesn't want to sit here, man, and kind of take the blinds off and just look at what's going on and have a healthy conversation. Crypto Zorro. I'm American too, Modern King. A lot of my favorite fighter, but PBC not exactly too high on. I can understand. Modern Day King, stop crying, Karen. Crypto Zorro. PBC and Haymon been sus ever since they gave Charles Martin's belt to Hearn and AJ to create the fiasco. Hey, let me tell you something. You know why Charles Martin took that fight over there with what's his name, AJ? Eddie Hearn, and they paid Charles Martin like $8 or $9 million for that fight. So yeah, Martin sold those belts. So he got set up for the rest of his life with the money he made. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They knew Martin couldn't beat AJ, but Martin didn't even try, man. I just think Martin, and plus he won those belts by default. I don't know if y'all saw that fight where he won the belts. The guy got injured, and Martin becomes a champion. Then he goes over there and immediately loses the damn belt. So, and ever since then, he's been struggling to get his career back online. Got in there with Luis Ortiz, Hey, man, looked pretty good. But the old Cadillac, you know, that old Cuban Cadillac has about 500,000 miles on him. He got over there with that old Cuban Cadillac and it looked like he was going to get him out of there, but Cadillac still had a little life in it and got Martin out of there, man. Martin didn't know where the hell he was at. T-World, promoters and broadcast companies don't put up their own money for fights, and networks and sponsors do. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I've heard some of both. So this is something where I think it may be instances where the networks, sponsors, and I think the promoters, because I've listened and I've heard Top Rank talk about it, and you know, Eddie Hearn, think what you want about them, and they talk about the fact that they're the ones incurring the risk. They're the ones putting the money up. So again, I think there may be instances where you see the networks, the sponsors, and promoters. It could be where sponsors put up the preponderance of it in some cases, but I know that from my understanding, the promoters put up a lot of that money too, if not all of it, depending on the fighter and the event. Karen Battle. To the PBC haven't been sued, nor have they filed for bankruptcy. He had the music industry where he used to work, and they said anything. Yeah, we know Al Heyman, man. He's a smart guy, Harvard grad, got involved in the music industry, eased over into boxing, and everything worked out. That's right, Billy Block. That's what they said. You know, T-World, Al Heyman is still spending May pack earnings. You know what? That's a good point. They made a lot of money. So it's not like they're going to go bankrupt. You made a good point, T-World. Bully Block, did he mean Urban? Could have Texas. I want to see an interview with some Texas fighters. And man, it's hard for me to get out here with a camera and interview people. I got 4 kids, man. But I can go to some of these AAU basketball and football games, and I can get you some youth athletes and put that on the page. There is no way Floyd will be doing business with Al Heyman if he thought he was lying about the money. Him and Ellaby work well together. I agree. People talk about Floyd Mayweather, right? Being a genius, right? Being this excellent businessman. Adrian Broner came out and said, it's not Floyd. He said it's all Al Heyman. When Floyd decided to leave over there with Top Rank, he said it was Al Heyman. Adrian Broner just in an interview, we talked about that, where he says Al Heyman is the reason why Floyd is where he is. So yeah, I would tend to believe that Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman, I just couldn't see a rift really developing there, because there had to be some kind of loyalty between Floyd and Al, especially with all Al has done for him. Wallen fight should have been stopped. It was bad. The Vitaly's cut. Absolutely. Jack Reese was compromised. Jack Reese is out here selling real estate now, man. Jack Reese made so much money, he doesn't even care. Modern day King Kinahan, yep. If Wallen fights Fury 100 times, 9 times he'll lose and draw once. Hey, man, Victor, I don't disagree. I don't. I just think Fury is a bad style matchup, but it will be interesting going to a 4th fight, because to me, I just think Wilder needs to leave him alone, because it's just the type of damage he took in that 3rd fight. But if he chooses to go forward, okay, that's kind of on them. But I just don't see him beating Fury. And it's not because I think Fury is necessarily better than Wilder. It's because it's the size dimensions, man. You know, when you look at even Anthony Joshua, you know, Deontay Wilder, even Fury, when you look at when they fight someone who's about the same height, with the same reach, if not more reach, that's where they kind of struggle. And Deontay Wilder doesn't know how to tie up anyway. So, and he had this habit now of ducking his head down. So I just think if he's going to keep fighting a guy like Tyson Fury, I think he's going to struggle and struggle bad. And like you said, I think he loses. But if Tyson Fury, like I said, if it was the nutritionist who was helping him with his power and punch resistance and everything else, and he doesn't have that there, then, you know, we'll see. But when you want to sit there and compare these guys skill set for skill set, doesn't matter how you feel. You got to say Tyson Fury has the better skill set, okay? The Tyson Fury smear campaign had me leaving boxing groups left and right, because if you're Wilder's friend, you ask some tough questions. The group just went for the weak folks and made cash super chats. Yeah, people still do that. That's not my style, man. Man, nobody. I get, man, let me tell you, I see some of the money these guys are making, and that's cool. If somebody sends me something, I appreciate it, but I'm not really tripping, man. Preacher champion, thank you. Bully Block fighter. Boxing, if you get knocked out cold, the fight is over. You can't resume fighting. That's the rules. I mean, I don't know if that's a rule or not, but what you have seen is when guys get knocked out cold,
Normally the referee, they stop it. They don't get down on their knees over you, screaming in your face. So that's just not something that I was accustomed to seeing. But yeah, if you get knocked out cold, they immediately stop that fight. Because a person gets up, they can be concussed. So it does make you wonder. Don't forget about blaming your costume or putting something in his drink. Yeah, we all know that was all crap from Wilder talking about the damn costume. Let me see what else we got here. Let me see. I'm going to get through these comments real quick. Let's get caught up on these texts and join the show. I'm sorry. Okay, here. Let me get through boxing. Wilder just couldn't get a decisive win. True. Joker couldn't catch a break to save his life. True. Mark Breland tried to save it. Okay. Yeah, he did. Mark Breland did the right thing. Plaster will. Yeah, Margarito did cheat. Panama Lewis, the Black Buckle. You guys remember that? The Black Buckle? The University of Cheating in Boxing is Panama Lewis. Yeah, Panama Lewis is a piece of crap. Went out there and messed up that boy Resto's career and Billy Collins. Wilder has no legs or stamina once free picks on weight by the fifth. That is true. Wilder doesn't do well with that. See Irvin the Wiz. Right after round 2, he was tired as hell. Yeah. Don't think I've ever seen anybody look that tired in the ring. Wilder had nothing left to give. And he didn't lose his right to complain. There's nothing else he could have done in that fight. He had nothing left. Modern King Boxing, yep. That guy Kinahan was hot. It was something USA had no idea about. Even in boxing, USA always turns a blind eye. This is why we always feel that Muhammad Ali can being disrespected. The Muhammad Ali Act. How many people here like Al Heyman? You know, Al Heyman seems to be taking care of fighters, but he's starting that Muhammad Ali Act. You guys know the whole thing about being a promoter and a manager, right? You can't be both. And Al Heyman is the promoter and manager, but he's masking it by calling himself an advisor. And that's what makes Al Heyman Al Heyman. He's very, very smart. Very, very smart. So he found a great area and he exploited it. So now he's the advisor, but he's doing both. And that's why he's able to, these fighters are so glad for the kind of money they were making. And, you know, some would say they're still making because he takes much less than any other promoter or any other manager or anyone else because he's able to do both jobs for basically a fee of just serving in one of those roles. And his fee is much less than those guys who are serving in just one of those roles. So he's doing two. You get two things for basically less than the price of one with Al Heyman. J. Ross Theory enjoying the show. Thank you, Victor. Boxing is dead. I don't know if boxing is dead, man. Let's get caught up on these texts. Yep, that's what we're doing right now. Wilder doesn't look the same fighter anymore after Fury. Doesn't look comfortable in the ring. I'm going to tell you why Wilder doesn't look comfortable in the ring, in my opinion, because they're trying to have him float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. It's like Anthony Joshua. Him and Wilder, those are lions. You can't turn a lion into a pussycat. That's why they look crazy out there. Wilder's not supposed to be trying to jab and catch and shoot and go to the body. No, man, he's supposed to be basic. Keep that shit long distance, man. Jab, feint, jab, boom, bing. 1, 2, get you out of there. Joshua, jab, jab, right hand. Close the distance. Joshua's signature combination, man. Uppercut, hook. That's it. But Joshua's not doing that. He's in there getting fancy feet, trying to outbox guys like Usyk. And that's why you saw Joshua look crazy. Even when he fought Pulev, he looked crazy in that fight trying to box him. Yeah, he was winning, but he's trying to box. And then when he finally realized, all right, let me get him out of there, then we saw Big Femi. And he got busy and damn near killed him. So guys like that, they're going to look crazy because they're not doing something that comes naturally. Instinctively, it's in those guys to fight. Not think too much. See, when you overthink, mistakes happen. And that's why I say with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia has to think too much because he's trying to do these new things. With Tank is just doing things instinctively, and that's why I think Tank is good. With patience and natural instinct, he's going to beat Ryan Garcia. The only big fight I want to see is Broner versus Rolly. I think Broner versus Rolly would be a good fight. I think Rolly knocks him out, though. Broner would never fight Rolly. Rolly's in his prime. Rolly's hungry. And Tank Davis went on record and said, Rolly hits super hard. Tank said that. He's like, he knew he could get slept if he played around with Rolly. He felt that power early. So, I put it to you this way. Maidana hit hard. Tank says Rolly hit hard. Everyone says Rolly hits hard. So I can't see Broner getting in there and wanting to go through Here it is, what? Oh, it's 6 years removed from the fight. I don't know how long ago he fought Maidana. But to come back now and, the 2020s and have to deal with a damn Cuban version of Maidana, Cuban-American version of Maidana. I don't think Broner would take that fight. Don't forget to hit Hood Boxing like, at least chat respect. Okay, hey, you guys hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. The J. Rules theory. If the big fights don't happen this year, pay-per-view prices better drop. And man, pay-per-view is going to continue to diminish because they all need to be home runs. Every pay-per-view that gets put on from here on out, it's got to be a home run, man. And I'm not saying it to be a pessimist. What I'm saying is, if that's the only way you create a demand and make people want to pay their money, man. Nobody wants to see like Deontay Wilder, Helenius. We know who Helenius is, but who the hell knows who Helenius is, right? These guys got to get in there with big names. You just have to do it. And if they want to make the money like we talked about earlier in this live, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Hagglers, man. Fast forward and past that, man. Looking at the Roy Jones when he came around, the Tarvers, the Glenn Johnsons, right? Now I'm going back, right? Then you fast forward that, you got the damn Sugar Shane Moses, you got the Zab Judas, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad, William Joppy was out there getting busy, getting his ass beat up, getting his ass knocked all around the ring by Trinidad. Then you come now with the Earl Spencers and those guys. But you look at what changed, right? There was a paradigm shift. The best stopped fighting the best because everybody said, I want to stay undefeated and I'm going to fight this guy and I can still make a whole lot of money. And that's the same thing. Danny Garcia. Y'all don't remember when his dad went on record and said, why in the world should I put him in tough fights? It's all about right now making your money. It's all about making money. And then we'll take the tough fights down the road. Danny Garcia dad said that. That's when the money was good. That's when they first got with Al Heyman. Do y'all remember that? So that's kind of it's kind of backfired on a lot of fighters because it's like investing in crypto. You want to jump in there to Bitcoin now? There was a time you invested in Bitcoin, boom, you made a lot of money. You pulled yourself out at the right time. Danny Garcia got in, made his money, pulled out at the right time. You get all these guys trying to come in now, the money's not there. Okay, so I just think they got in too late. Now, it could, just like with the crypto market, the stock market, there could be a correction. Maybe in this whole pay-per-view thing, there could be a correction and we can get things back on course, but it's not going to happen this year. It's going to take, these guys have to be consistent with the best, fighting the best. And then I think you can see a correction in the pay-per-view market and the lack of demand becoming a demand starting to increase and then the money starting to be there. But I just don't see it right now. And hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. I think we got a mature audience that is tracking with everything I'm saying. I'm unsure about Broner, very inconsistent in his last few fights, not letting his hands go, seem to be having weight issues. See Irvin the Wiz, that's exactly the problem. Broner, he only had one knockout outside of 135. All of his knockouts came at 135. So it is the weight. It's not that Broner can't fight. It's the weight, and it's his style. Broner's a counterpuncher. Broner's another guy. He doesn't float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. At 135, he will sit there, stay in the pocket, counter you, one shot, and hurt you. Went to 140, wasn't really able to get that done. Come up to 147, he got Ashley Theophane out of there. I don't know if he fought him at 140 or 147, but he got him out of there, but it was just Theophane. Everyone else, it's been an uphill battle because Broner wants to sit there and try to counter. But the shots he was knocking the lighter guys out with, he can't do that to the big guys. And Broner doesn't have the volume of punches to keep someone off him. And Broner got hurt by Maidana. So he's like, shit, I can't sit here and take a shot by these big guys. So when those guys start letting their hands go, he just does this. His defense. And he already has a low output. So when he's on the defensive most of the fight, that's why he doesn't even let his hands go. So it's not that he doesn't want to. It's because he's a defense-first fighter. And with his style of being a counterpuncher, it just doesn't work for being at that heavy weight. So 147 pounds is Broner's third best weight. His first best weight was 135. We know he ain't getting down there. Second best weight, 140. Maybe he can get there, but he don't have the discipline. And then his third best weight really is 147. But we know 144, 148, 146, whatever the hell he wants to come in on the night of the fight. So that's the deal with Adrian Broner. Rolly would be a good fight. Yeah, he would be. I can't lie. Enjoy Eddie and AJ Alliance call me crazy. Not as good because, they're working together. They're making a lot of money. But I think it's at a point here where I don't think AJ's going to be with Eddie Hearn because he wants to. I think it's because he has to. Who wants to be with someone who keeps telling you, right? I just did this. I talked about this in the video. Who wants to be with someone that keeps telling you, making you feel like your career is over? Who wants to deal with that kind of pressure? It's like I said in my video, I talked about, imagine you're somebody who had weight struggles, right? You get on a diet, you're losing weight, and then you decide to have a cheat day, and you got that negative ass person in the corner. Oh, you better not eat that cheeseburger. Oh, don't eat that. You're going to fall off your diet. You're going to put all the weight back on. It's like, goddamn. I've been out here disciplining myself, being dedicated to dropping this weight. I just want to have a little cheat day. But I got this negative person. I've lost 50 pounds, man. But you negative, making me feel like I just can't live a little bit. And that's Eddie Hearn with AJ. Okay, AJ had a couple losses. He didn't lose to what's his name, man? Oscar Rivas. This man lost to Usyk. But you got Eddie Hearn in his head. If you lose again, your career's over. You'll never be the same. Oh, you can't afford to take a loss, AJ. And now AJ has this unnecessary pressure. That's not fair, man. Now he's bouncing around. He's posing with Derek James. I think Derek James could be a good fit for him, but Eddie Hearn is toxic. That's my opinion on Eddie Hearn. I like the fact that how they were operating before, but as soon as Anthony Joshua, when he lost to Ruiz, did you see Eddie Hearn in the ring? He was like, boy, you better win those belts back. Y'all see how Eddie Hearn reacted? That shit, that's not genuine love. That shit is business. Eddie Hearn talking about Anthony Joshua is my mate. No. The way he reacted, Eddie Hearn was wiping sweat off of his head. His tongue was hanging out his mouth, wrapped around his head, coming across his scalp. That wasn't genuine love. That was, don't mess up my money. You need to get those belts back. So yeah, the way they are, where they were before, I think it was admirable. The way they are now, I don't think it's a good thing, man. When is Tank fighting Class A fighters? That's the question. Yeah, I think he's trying to do it now, man. I think Tank 149. I think Tank is messing up. I got about 10 more minutes. I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna get through these comments. Tank is messing up, in my opinion. He wants the legacy because he's young and he saw what Mayweather did. But Mayweather wanted Tank to not have to work as hard as he did. The belts don't matter to Mayweather. And that's why with Tank, he was like, look, I'll put you in these fights. They'll probably be a C-level fighters. You make a whole bunch of money. Don't take any damage. And within 5 or 6 years, maybe we get you close to being a billionaire. At least $500 million. Tank's watching Mayweather still doing these exhibitions, making real money. He's like, shit. Then everyone's calling Tank a duck. He's fighting nobodies. So I think Tank kind of heard what Mayweather was saying, but he didn't really quite understand because you can't teach experience. So now he's out here and he wants to fight Haney. He wants to fight Shakir. He wants to fight Ryan. He wants to fight all these guys and the Teofimos. Maybe go fight Regis Prograis. So now he wants to chase the legacy. But I think once he gets, maybe in 10 years from now, he's going to look back and say, now I understand what Floyd was trying to do. But right now, I don't think he does. So I understand, and I'm glad because I want to see Tank fight the best. I do. I want to see him fight the best. But at the end of the day, like Mayweather said, you can't feed your kids belts. You know what I'm saying? Get your money. And these sanctioning bodies, that's a whole other life. The sanctioning bodies are getting paid off the efforts of fighters. Why the hell you want to give these guys hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars? So I agree with Floyd when it comes to that. But at the same time, Tank is young. Tank probably the best 135 pounder. He probably could get up to 140 and win against most of those guys at 140. So he wants to go out there and prove himself. But we'll see what happens because you got to get through Ryan Garcia first. Fast Eddie graduated from the Don King School of promotion. He was a valedictorian. Don King is needed. Don King is still floating around. Permain Severn's about to fight. I don't know if y'all knew that. Don King is still out there promoting. I thought Conor Ben was done. Conor Ben's coming back. Eddie Hearn's trying to get him in a fight here in the next couple months. I miss Don King. Yeah, Don King, he put on the big fights. He may show up to somebody with a briefcase full of money and do some shady under the table deals, but he made things happen. If Don had fighters under him, these fights would have happened. Yeah, it would have happened. But Don King would have made sure it benefited him too. Rocha fight next month. Well, there you go. If Rocha's fighting next month, I didn't know that. But if he's fighting next month, then that means it could get Blair to Flair even closer to Terrence Crawford. Remember people that was Don King who put boxing on the map? Yeah, Blair to Flair is a trip. Yeah, he's crazy. Everyone's still following everyone the way the Floyd way of boxing. Nobody dared test Crawford. He got it out there. Yeah, Crawford's good, man. Him and Earl Spencer's a good fight. But that's a 50-50 fight, man. Manny would be a good money fight. Yep. Jerry, people tend to forget that and pay his fighters more than Al is. Al paid good at first, but now, yep, we just talked about that. Money's drying up. Let's see. Donna's the best thing. Victor, great discussion. Thank you, Jay Rosteria. Fury would end Deontay Wilder's career this time. It could happen, man, if they go in there with the wrong game plan. It could be worse. Thanks for the sub. Jay Rules, Bully Bug, no problem. All they got is once a year. Dana White ain't the best, but at least over the UFC's making fights happen. That's right. Right, that's what they did to Tim Bradley. He wasn't lying. Yeah, Tim Bradley, I don't even want to talk about Mr. Potato Head over there, man. He if you're going to be serving in the capacity where you're a commentator, you got to take your personal emotions out of it. He's mad because Tank Davis said something about him. Now he wants to come and call Tank Davis a piece of crap and say how Tank Davis is beating on women. I mean, damn, he just went up there and convicted Gervonta Davis without allowing it to go to trial. So Tim Bradley is just a little bit sour, and he could be jealous of those guys' careers because those guys probably have made more money than he made his entire career. Rolly wasn't smart, ran into a stone wall. Yeah, well, you ever listen to Rolly Romero talk? Not the brightest crayon in the box. It is what it is. Chase Money, salute OG. Thank you, sir. Mikey Garcia to a paycheck. AJ about to have a call. Call her Massa. Victor Ortiz, if Ruiz took the rematch more seriously with AJ, he would have retained his belt but win there like Blubber Douglas. Yeah, Andy Ruiz went straight Winnie the Pooh in there, didn't he? He didn't even try to win that fight. That's his problem. But he's got bigger problems to me because Andy Ruiz, this man took that money. He made a lot of money. And I'm not here to jump in anybody's pockets. You earn your money, you spend it how you want. But you go buy a mansion, you go buy all these depreciating assets, right? Man making $8 million, maybe whatever, $10 million, $12 million the next fight. Then he comes back, he's down to $500,000 of $1 million fights, $1 million fight person. And you got this lifestyle now. I hope Andy Ruiz had somebody to help him manage his finances because if not, Andy Ruiz could be another one of those sad stories. You come and make $20 million over 2 fights or whatever, right? Why the hell you got to go buy a $5 million mansion or some bullshit? Buy these $100,000, $500,000 vehicles. It's his business. I just think that's stupid. But I understand when you never had, now you have. I get it. But let me tell you, man, when you have those kind of, you develop these new spending habits, $20 million isn't a lot of money. So that's all I'm saying. You got to keep winning to keep getting $1 million paydays. Haney got all of Tank's belts right now. I think Tank Davis beats Haney. Haney is a great fighter. He can keep Tank off him for a while, but at some point, what happens when Tank hits him? Tank won't really fight someone. We talked about that. Elijah one style versus many styles. True, Victor. I feel bad for Haney Undisputed. Another fighter gets the love and looked at. Yep, but I mean, I think we've got to just about all of the comments. I'm gonna finish those last 4, but with Devin Haney, I think his dad hurts him, man. You can't come out here arguing and cussing and just being ignorant and trying to get every fighter's trainer or every fighter's promoter to say, promise, let's agree right now. They're on a teleconference and Bill Haney is shouting, let's agree right now. Let's agree to fight. That's what they're trying to do with Tank. Tank is going to fight where the money is, but he does want to fight Devin Haney. But I just feel, again, Adrian Broner, he said if they would have had on lighter gloves, Tank Davis would have knocked Haney out cold. He hit him and Devin Haney was out. They jumped in the ring. because they didn't want Tank to finish him off. But they continued sparring, and Devin, he got his shots in. But with those lighter gloves, I just think Devin Haney gets knocked out. If Jorge Linares hit Devin Haney, it was like a 3-4 punch combination. The last punch in the combination caught Haney. And it wasn't even a super hard shot. And Haney was on Queer Street. If they had 30 seconds left in that fight, Devin Haney would have got knocked out. So fighting Tank Davis, who's a much better boxer, much smarter fighter, and a much more powerful fighter than Linares, you're trying to tell me Tank isn't going to touch him at some point in that fight? Come on, man. Bradley's ego is huge. Yeah, his head and his ego. Ridiculous, man. You got to be professional, man. And he's not. And you can see Andre Ward there just kind of blocking, slipping. Every time Bradley tries to pull Andre Ward into those conversations to gossip or say horrible things and just be negative, Andre Ward ducks it. He slipped that. He was a defensive fighter, so that defense is on full display when he's up there working alongside Potato Head Bradley. Dig the live chat. Hope to catch more of them. Thank you, Chinchilla. Victor, Tank ain't fighting no big name. He getting rich fighting B-level fighters and is looked at. Yeah, I agree with you, but I think he's looking to change that now. The fact that he just fought that guy, Hector Garcia he wasn't a bum. Hector Garcia could fight, but I get it, 130, 135. I understand. I just think Tank did that shit to Leo Santa Cruz and did that to, what's his name, Mario Barrios. So it's just something special about Tank. Facts, Victor. Yep. How many champs does Tank have to be before he'll quit saying he's fighting B-level fighters? Well, this is supposed to be the year where he takes on some bigger names. Devin gonna jab Tank's head off. I think he will until he gets caught. Gas Tank, 50-50. Yeah, well, it could be. Styles make fights. Haney has the pedigree and he has a condition to fight a whole 12 rounds and to not get caught up trying to exchange with Tank. But there was a time, let's be real about Devin Haney. There was a time where Devin Haney was out here concerned about his punching power and was trying to stand and hold his ground. He fought Linares, got a wake-up call. Fought Jojo Diaz, got a wake-up call. Got in there with Kambosos. He outboxed him. So I still think Devin Haney, part of him is like, I can hold my ground and prove I have power. 50% of my wins are by knockout. But 91% of Tank wins are by knockout. That's all I'm saying. But I think Devin Haney definitely, as far as Devin Haney, and when he first started fighting on the zone, he looked like Floyd Mayweather. Like, that's how special he looked. He's still special. Hard to go against a guy who can box and punch like Tank Davis. Tank should fight Haney, Shakir, and Ryan. You got Kambosos. Pick one for Tank. For Tank to fight, I think Tank should fight Haney. But Tank doesn't, I don't think Tank, because he was Mayweather for so long, I don't think he wants to pay all those damn sanctioning fees. Both, the challenger and the champion have to pay sanctioning fees when they go into a title fight on every belt. With the type of money they're going to make, I think it caps out at like $200,000. So if they make a few million, that means $200,000 in every belt. That's like 4 belts, $800,000 out of their fight purse. And then there are registration fees the promoter has to pay. Then there's certain fees the promoter has to pay in addition to the registration fees that are outside of the commissioning fees. It's all these sanctioning bodies are making money hand over fist. That's why they'll do like what he did to Josh Taylor and force 2 mandatories on him at the same time from 2 different sanctioning bodies, which he can't possibly fight 2 people at the same time. So then they strip him. It's crazy. One hitter quitter, Tank. Yeah. Potato Head Bradley laughs. Shakir wanted all the smoke. Tank next fight is one of this migrants across the border. I don't know who he's going to be fighting next, but I think a lot of us came over here, or family, or us came over here from other countries, man. But I wouldn't mind seeing somebody who came over here from across the border get a good opportunity to win some money and take care of their family back home who wasn't able to come over here, man. I think that would be a good thing. But boxing fans are going to have an issue because they just see that Tank's not fighting a Haney or Shakir, and they're going to have a bit of an issue with it. Tank wants all the smoke, and Haney's dad going to get him KO'd. Haney versus Tank will be a huge fight. I do think Haney versus Tank would do good on pay-per-view. Haney was able to really build his brand when he got over to the zone. Eddie Hearn did a good job with him. Got over top rank, fighting overseas, fighting in Australia. I think it'll be good. Haney's dad started moving weird recently. Haney, let me tell y'all something, right? I pay attention to a lot of this stuff, but when Haney and his dad start saying they were Muslims, and nothing wrong with that, man. My family is half my family is all Muslims, man. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with them. Uncles are imams. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up with both Islam and Christianity, both two religions. My mom was Christian, but you get the teachings of both, right? So when I watch these guys and saying how they're Muslims, but then they get on there cussing and the different things they say on the internet, I'm like, come on, man, that's corny. But I think Haney's dad is really all about where he can make the most money, right? His dad's not dumb. He's all about money. If Devin Haney, right, all of a sudden they're Muslims, Allahu Akbar, and Inshallah, and Ramadan, and all this, right? Hey, to me, no matter what your religion belief is, even if you're an atheist, that's your right. I'm not telling anyone they're wrong, okay? I have no issue with that. But this boxing we're talking about, where can these fighters go to make the most money right now? Go to the Middle East, right? They go out to the Middle East. Let me tell you, when it comes to the religion, Islam, when it comes to Muslims, man, when they recognize another Muslim man, they treat him like a brother. They treat him like family. I'm not talking about some of this shit you see out here of people saying that they're Muslims. No, I'm talking about people who really live and breathe the religion. For any religion, not just Islam, right? But we're talking about Devin Haney's dad. That's what we're talking about, Islam. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying other religions aren't like that. That's not what I'm saying. But this is what I think, and I could be wrong. I think they're just playing that whole religion thing, that whole Islam thing. So Devin Haney, he's already been over to, Dubai, right? He already went over there. This man was getting the red carpet treatment over there. Not because he's Devin Haney the champion, because he says he's a Muslim. So if he's trying to set it up, his dad's smart. You can't come out here cussing and carrying on and then Allahu Akbar in the same breath. But if he can get people to buy in to that they're Muslims, he can get Devin Haney to start fighting in Saudi Arabia. Remember, Devin Haney's dad was a hustler. He get him to start fighting in Saudi Arabia and those castles. Devin Haney can be making real money. Okay, because now they got, because remember, Amir Khan, he was Muslim. Amir Khan, man, he go anywhere, Qatar, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, he gets the red carpet treatment. Religion, same thing with Tank. That could be, and that's what I think. I think that's the direction they're trying to take him. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, when I look at how the timeline of everything, I think that's the direction they're trying to take it. But I could be wrong. I really hope that they found a religion that works for them, and I hope he grows spiritually. But me being the common sense man I am, I'm watching the movements, and I think they're all about their money. Haney's dad really thinks that he is Devin Haney. Yeah. Out of the mouth, the heart speaks. Yep, absolutely, man. Edwin Dos Santos wants all the smoke. Yep. There's a lot of these guys who want to fight. But I don't think they're going to get the opportunities, man. But I got to get ready to go get my sons. I'm going to try to come on here. I'm going to try to come every day between like 11 and 1 o'clock, 2 hours, to just have a healthy dialogue. One thing I noticed about the chat today, there were no trolls in here. You notice no one in here said anything disrespectful, nothing nasty. Nobody attacked each other. No one attacked me. And I appreciate that, man. You know, that's not the energy I try to put off. But again, I'm really trying to do this here. You said they would take care of you too, Victor. I'm trying to do this here, man. And if things can work out, man, financially, man, I'll probably just keep doing this. But I'm going to do it no matter what. But if you appreciate it, at least hit the like button. I appreciate it, man. I'm going to end the stream. Anything before I get off of here? You guys got any questions about anything? Anything you just want to throw out real quick before I jump off? Everyone who came on, I really appreciate it. Every single person. It means a lot to me, man. Okay, I'll give it about another minute before, because it seems to be a delay when you talk and people respond. Anybody have anything else? Give it a quick minute. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Oh, here we go. Do you think Crawford will fight Spence? Elijah, do you think Crawford will fight Spence? I think Crawford would fight Spence. I don't think that 60 days is enough time. All right, Bully Block. All right, Rodney. I just don't think 60 days is enough time for them to work to agree to a fight. That's why I think they should be talking about it right now. They should already have a deal in place. If Spence wins, Crawford gets in the ring and they announce the fight. You know, that's honestly what I think they should do. But nevertheless, we'll find out. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze. Hello?